Today I'm going to talk about the phrase La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah is known as a universal phrase for all people of all nations, of all creeds and colours, and of all religious backgrounds. It's a phrase that is familiar amongst the Muslims, but it's a phrase that predates Islam. La ilaha illallah literally means there is no one except for the one. It also means there is no love except for divine love, or there is no love except for pure love. Now, when we recite La ilaha illallah, it connects to 12 different parts within our bodies. We have 12 cranial nerves, 12 acupuncture meridians, and 12 chakras. So by reciting La ilaha illallah, you end up stringing all these different points with the flow of the universe. Once the person or the reciter starts reciting La ilaha illallah, the crown chakra opens and light pours through, triggered by the tongue or the conscious mind, and hits the heart. When it hits the heart, it has a twirling effect and energizes every drop and every atom of blood within our bodies to oscillate at such a high degree that we get filled and fueled with this new divine energy. This also has an effect on the pineal gland. Now, the pineal gland is a gland that's normally dormant at the back of our brains. When we say La ilaha illallah, it has the effect of triggering the pineal gland to release a hormone of DMT, which works in our creative minds. So it causes more creativity within our brains, and also this effect helps us to use a higher percentage of our brains. Now, if we go back in time, before we came into the planetary system, we all came from this light, this beautiful light. So we were all flowing free. Now, there were 12 mercy oceans of love, and we were bathed in these mercy oceans. And each and every one of us were dressed with these lights. These lights served as auras, and these lights were to help us to evolve in this world. Now, when we came into the planetary system, because there's so much negative energy in the planet, our cloaks of light became depleted. So when we say La ilaha illallah, we connect back to the origin of our souls, to this essence and to these 12 oceans of love. So when we say the La ilaha illallah, we get cloaked with these robes, and these robes help us to evolve. Now, there are 3 basic stages of human evolution. We have Homo sapiens, which is intelligent beings, and then we have an intermediate stage, which is known as Homo noeticus, which in Latin means people of intelligence. Now, as long as we're practicing good deeds and doing as much good as we can in the world, and if we try to maybe meditate or recite specific mantras that help counteract our ego, we get propelled to this intermediate state. And when we're in this intermediate state, we become more conscious, and there are certain veils in front of our eyes that get lifted, so we start realizing reality, and we get more in touch with our hearts. Then there's a tertiary stage. Now, this tertiary stage, or the final stage, is known as Homo luminous, where we get filled completely with light and we connect with our souls, void of ego. Now, if we go back to the phrase again, La ilaha illallah, meaning the literal meaning of there is no one except for the one, it has a counteracting effect upon the ego. Now, the ego is constantly inside us saying, there is no one but me. So you counteract it by saying, La ilaha illallah, there is no one except for the one. So during this process, you're counteracting your ego, you're counteracting all the negative emotions and all the negative traits of the human soul, or the human character that pulls us back and draws us away from evolving. The ego is pulled by gravity to the earth, so it's attached to all earthly things. It's attached to materialism or extreme materialism. The soul at any given time is always trying to get back to the light. So there's always this tug of war within the human being. If you go back to La ilaha illallah again, You can also see the effect it has of calming and upheaving or releasing depression. And there was actually a psychiatrist in Holland, and he worked with his patients, and basically he divided them into two parts. And he wanted to show the effect, or to do a scientific experiment or controlled experiment on the effect of La ilaha illallah. So half of his patients, he gave them the placebo effect, and the other half, he gave them this phrase to recite. Now, at the end of a month, his patients who were reciting the mantra of La ilaha illallah were reciting it 100 times a day, but unaware of the meaning. So at the end of the month, all their symptoms of clinical depression disappeared, yet the ones on the placebo effect remained the way they were. I leave you this phrase of La ilaha illallah, and I encourage all people of all nations to say it. It is not purely an Islamic phrase. It is a phrase for all people, and it's a phrase that helps promote peace and promote consciousness and helps you get in touch with your heart. And especially now, since the world is plunged in so much negativity, and it seems that so many people are lacking connection with their heart, maybe if we all pray together as one and try to say this La ilaha illallah, so that we can tap into this beautiful energy of love, and in turn help show other people how they can evolve and be the best they can be, perhaps the world will be a more peaceful and less troubled state. Thank you.